If ever there was a motorcycle that showed up a day late and a dollar short, it was the Kawasaki Z650. A close second would be the Gixxer 250, but we'll save that for another day. In the year 2021, the entry-level market for motorcycles is one of the strongest in the industry, particularly this new crop of 650-ish cc naked sport bikes. They are extremely popular, galvanized by the rocket ship success of the 2014 FZ07, cemented by the legendary SV650, and now with fresh competition by way of Triumph's Trident 660 and the Aprilia RS660. So what does Kawasaki Heavy Industries bring to the table? Known for their infinite levels of yeet energy, monster energy drink and wheelie pop and cheater displacement supersports, and ludicrous top-end power with forced induction motorcycles, Kawasaki has disappointed with one of the most milquetoast options on the market. But does that mean it's a bike you should just skip over? Today, we are taking a comprehensive view on the Kawasaki Z650. We'll dive into all the relevant specs, the feeling and riding experience, whether it makes sense for a beginner rider, seeing how it stacks up against its competitors, and giving you the ultimate lowdown on this most middle-of-the-road naked bike. Yo, yeah, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish talking about the Z650, but first, Rockform makes the best phone cases of all time, man. All time. Yeah, that's right. Unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard us talk about their drop-tested phone cases and their motorcycle phone mounts. They hold your phone to your bike like a Z650 rider hopping on a leader bike for the first time. But what you might not know is they've got an entire line of products that protect your phone, like tempered glass screen protectors and lanyards, so your butterfingered self can't drop your phone. But they've also got car mounts, belt clips, sport rings, Bluetooth speakers, and more. Click that link down below and check out all the goodies that Rockform has to offer and use the code YN25 to get 25% off your whole order. If you needed another reason to go check them out, I've been using a Rockform case for months and it works great. Seriously, go get yourself one. Alright, Yam, you can continue. Before we jump into today's video, you might be asking, does this guy even own a Z650? Is he qualified to review one, and why does he even have one? The answer to those questions are yes, possibly, and because of our giveaway sweepstakes. I run a business and a website that's all about getting more people on two wheels, and besides making some of the best daily motorcycling videos on the internet, one of the ways we do that is by giving away motorcycles for free. One of those is the Kawasaki Z650 you'll be seeing in today's video. I have given away over 20 motorcycles at this point to people just like you watching this video, and all you need to do is head over to yaminube.co, register for free, and you can select the beginner bike package on our subscriptions and you'll be entered to win. You'll get access to our Discord server, exclusive content, and tools like our member meetup feature. If you're thinking about jumping on a motorcycle for the first time, be able to talk with experienced riders, and even me, I'm on there every day, is invaluable. If that doesn't sound interesting to you, you can always go to yamanubemerch.com and pick out anything you want and get entered to win that way too. After checkout, you'll get an email that has a link where you can select your sweepstakes and allot your points. We've got a ton of bikes up for grabs, so what are you waiting for? Check it out in the description below. Old-timers will be the first to tell you that the Kawasaki Z650 was an inline-4 standard bike from the 70s, and you sissy millennial riders will never know a man's bike like that, despite the fact that literally any 650cc naked bike today has a better power-to-weight ratio, and those dinosaurs, the brakes actually work on bikes today. But in reality, the lineage of the Z650 actually starts with the ER6 line of bikes from Kawi, specifically in 2006 when Kawi had the ER6N, N standing for naked. As you might imagine, it was a motorcycle that on paper resembles the Z650 very closely. A 649cc parallel twin punching about 70 horsepower, petrelless frame, and that lay-down rear shock. Strikingly familiar layout. And honestly, the Ninja 650 lines of bikes held much of the limelight with their flashy plastics in the mid to late 2000s, as more riders favored that bike over the naked variant. However, as the tides of the industry started to shift in 2008 and 9, paving the way for naked bikes to take over in the mid-2010s, Kawasaki had a blueprint for a competitive naked bike waiting to be unleashed. R&D cost fully paid for, derived from a bike they've producing in one way or another for 15 years. It was a recipe for success. Kawi dropped the revived Z650 in 2017, and they've made some seriously nice upgrades on the platform since then. The 2020 model comes equipped with the stylish TFT dash, slipper clutch, and many other goodies that make it a pretty competent motorcycle. Speaking of which, let's check out the specs on this bike. The Z650 I've got in the shop is a 2019, however the 2020 Plus models have slight changes I will point out to you. This bike is powered by a liquid-cooled 649cc parallel twin featuring a traditional 180-degree crank, making 67 horsepower at 8,500 RPM and 48 foot-pounds of torque at 7,000 RPM. It's got a traditional 6-speed gearbox with some tight ratios, making it fun to snick through gears around town. Suspension's taken care of by a 41mm non-adjustable front fork and a preload adjustable monoshock out back. Nothing fancy, but they do the job. Dual disc brakes up front at a 300mm each provide adequate stopping power, but you're not going to have a tremendous feel through the lever since this is a pretty budget-friendly bike. I'd like to take a moment to talk about the OEM tire option on this bike because it is absolutely atrocious. It features a standard 120/70/17 up front and a 160/50/17 out back. That's standard fare for the 650cc classic bike. However, the OEM equipment is a Dunlop SportMax D214. Now, I'm usually the first guy to tell you that you should burn through the OE rubber on a brand new bike just to get used to the thing and save yourself some coin. However, this is one of those rare exceptions to the rule, and I think you should listen to me and immediately change out these tires. The SportMax D214s are about as confidence-inspiring as a fourth grader presenting an assignment in which they did not do the required reading. Its wet weather performance is equally as tenuous, making every tight turn an exercise in throttle management, as you feel like you're riding on ice, not a warm water at 80 degrees down your favorite road. Seriously, ditch the Dunlops, get a proper tire on this thing, and set the PSI to an appropriate level and enjoy the ride. The Z's lightweight at 412 pounds doesn't go unnoticed, nor does the absolutely friendly 31-inch seat height. All of this from Big Green will cost you $7,249 on the showroom floor. But enough about the specs. How does the thing ride? Well, in a word, it's lackluster. There's nothing technically wrong with the Kawasaki Z650. It does everything a motorcycle needs to do. It starts right up, idles fine, it goes down the road exactly as you would expect, but it does so with the energy of a middle-of-the-road comedy you've put on Netflix to watch, because there really wasn't anything to watch in the first place. What I'm getting at is the Z650 shouldn't be your first choice. The throaty sound of the engine is akin to a vacuum cleaner with the K&N intake on it. The experience is very reminiscent of when you had an economy car in high school and your buddy told you that putting a cold air intake on it would give you some serious performance gains. Sure, the sound changed a bit, but you're still rolling around in a Toyota Corolla. Taking off with the Z650, you get the sense it's a torquey bike. It makes all the power in the mid-range and feels every bit as fast as its competitors, but it doesn't have any of the excitement of Yamaha's 270-degree crank or Honda's zesty little four-cylinder gem and the CB650R. The Z just feels a bit too polite, a bit too concerned with not offending you, which is absolutely puzzling coming from a company that makes a bike with a factory supercharger. The other disappointing thing is how fun the little brother 400 is to ride in comparison. The Ninja 400 revs harder, it has more character, it's lively around corners, it has better brake feel and is substantially lighter and cheaper than the Z650. If you like Kawasaki's and you're looking at getting a first bike, I'd have to steer you towards a 400 because they're just way more fun to ride, and you can get into track days and racing with them easier too, but I made a whole video about that. Anyways, back to the Z650, which I must tell you how it rides by now, even though you're already sensing my displeasure in telling you with how this thing goes down the road. Every time I got off the Z after a ride, my sentiment was, well, that was fine. It's fine. This is fine. It's a motorcycle, but it doesn't inspire me the same way other motorcycles do. But perhaps I'm being cruel to the Z650. It didn't ask to be born. It was willed into existence by a bunch of bean counters at Kawasaki who thought it made the most business sense to take an old platform and fit it up to modern standards to try to steal away some cheap sales from Yamaha and Suzuki. As I mentioned, the new 2020 features a TFT display, which is pretty cool if you're into that sort of thing. No bike that I currently own has one of them, and I don't really care if we're being brutally honest. The other thing that isn't great about this bike is the throttle feel. I often tell you guys about a bike's throttle feel and how it can be snatchy. I get a lot of questions as to what this means. The best way I can describe it is the throttle engages in an unpredictable way when you jump on it from off throttle. Most modern bikes work just fine from 1% to 100% throttle. They're linear, smooth, progressive, and usually have throttle tubes that aren't egregiously long unless we're talking about Yamaha's R3. The real difference is when you go from 0% to 1%, or maybe 0%, 0.25%. That delta is what matters in a motorcycle's feel when we're talking about throttle. Throttle control is essential to the experience of riding a bike. Chucking a bike into a corner, trailing it deep, and getting back on the throttle, that last step is often the most crucial for providing you confidence and feel. The Z650 certainly isn't the worst throttle feel on a bike I've experienced, but it certainly is not the best either. We tried every remedy we could short of swapping throttle tubes, which probably wouldn't help since the issue is likely related to the ECU. Perhaps a full flash would help, but it's simply not worth it to flash the ECU on a bike like this. So if you've made it this far in the list and you still actually want a Z650, should you consider one as a beginner? Sure, it's not all that fast, it's pretty cheap, and you can flat-foot it pretty easily. I would highly recommend that you get the Z400 or the Ninja 400 instead. If you're really all about that Kawasaki life, I promise they're more fun and you won't miss the power. But if you want a 650 that's actually inspiring to ride, then we'll cover some of the relevant competitors towards the end of this video. However, alright, it's time for the video where if you thought I was mean to the Z650 before, you're really not ready for what's about to happen. It's time I discuss competitors to this bike, and there's a lot. I'll give you quick opinions of why you should get them over the Z650. Yes, I think you should get every single competitor that I'm about to list over the Z650. First up, let's consider, in my opinion, the class leader, the Yamaha MT07. I've had the pleasure of owning and giving away an FZ07 and an XSR 700, both the same bikes as the MT07 basically, and they are just so fun to ride. The engine has loads more character than the Z650. It feels way more fun to ride, and the extra displacement makes it way spicier than the Z650 too. The thing clutches up wheelies in third gear. It sounds absolutely awesome when you put a pipe on it. It looks great even in the new version, my humble opinion. Ride an MT07 and then tell me you still want to own a Z650. Up next is the classic of naked sport bikes, the venerable time-proven SV650. There's a reason everyone recommends these, and it's because they rock. I've also had the pleasure of giving away and owning two of these, a standard SV650 back in 2019 and an SV650X in 2020. The V-twin engine has a unique feel to it. Since it's a 649cc V-twin that revs out, it almost feels like if Japan decided to make a Ducati monster, because that's basically what they did, but honestly it's better. The SV650 has been in production since 1999 and can be found literally everywhere for pretty cheap. Brand new, it's been updated last in 2017 with lots of changes. It rides pretty well. It's ready to accept 2 decades worth of parts and knowledge as well. The SV is simply an unbeatable platform, and again, it's got so much more pizzazz than the Z. Skip the Cowie. The new kid on the block is Triumph's Trident 660. I haven't got the chance to ride one of these yet, but I am getting 2 of them to give away for our next speed winner hours. More torque, and it has a triple cylinder sound. All that for only a little bit more than the Z. Seriously, you still want a Z650? Why? At the end of the day, you're free to make whatever motorcycle choices you want. I can't stop you from stepping on a rake that happens to be green with the Cowie badge and called a Z650. There's nothing wrong with the Z650, but there's also a whole lot that's not particularly right with it either. It's a package that does the bare minimum of what we expect a bike to do. It inspires very little magic or fun in riding, and it doesn't even make a great sound. Isn't that why we love riding motorcycles anyways? For the je ne sais quoi of the roar of a V4 makes us feel when we start it up, for the chills that go down our spine when we feel the tactile and rewarding sensations of the mechanical harmony of an old-school bike. If we relegate ourselves to bikes like the Z650, all name of efficiency and practicality, then that's a world I don't want to live in. Let's keep motorcycles fun, let's keep them exciting, and let's skip the Z650. Well guys, that's going to do it for today. What do you think? Was I too mean to the Z650? Should I reconsider? I'm sure there's plenty of Kawasaki simps in the comment section telling me that I just hate Kawasaki, and that's why I've rendered the opinion that I did. Little do they know I have a ZH2 in my garage that I adore. I've publicly stated that I want to race a ZX6 after my Daytona finally dies, and I heap praise on the Ninja 400 literally all the time. But who am I to say that? As always, be sure to subscribe. We put out the finest and daily motorcycling videos here on the channel, and if you don't like what I had to say and you want to argue, I'm always on our Discord server. Join at yamanoob.co and you could even win this Z650 for free. And hey, it's not a great bike, but it is for free. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later. Bummer for you, my little squid. This video is actually over, but lucky for you, there's plenty of other Yami videos you can check out right over here. What's gonna happen in them? I don't know. I haven't seen them, but you can watch them right now.